My dear reader, if something inside you feels unusually alert while going through these words, it may simply be your mind responding to depth rather than urgency. This is not a message meant to pressure or overwhelm you, but one that invites quiet reflection and awareness. Life often brings moments that feel significant without clear reason, when thoughts seem louder and emotions more sensitive, as if something within is trying to guide your attention inward. In those still hours, when the world slows down, the mind naturally processes experiences, reshapes understanding, and gently prepares you for the next stage of personal growth. What may feel like hidden meaning is often the result of your own awareness expanding, helping you notice what was previously overlooked. Challenges, uncertainty, and emotional intensity are not signals of danger but part of how perspective deepens over time, encouraging you to reconsider direction, priorities, and inner balance. Instead of rushing toward conclusions, allow yourself space to breathe and observe what you are truly feeling beneath the surface. Not every thought requires immediate action, and not every emotion is a message from beyond. Sometimes it is simply your inner world asking for patience and clarity. If there is anything to carry forward from this, let it be calm understanding and self-trust. Your journey is shaped not by pressure or fear, but by steady decisions made with a clear and composed mind, and every step becomes more meaningful when taken with awareness rather than haste. Yes, beloved, you almost missed your inheritance of joy. You almost walked past your miracle without even knowing. But because God's love for you is so wild, so reckless, so unstoppable, He paused the clocks of heaven just to get this message through to you now. My child, can you feel it? The air around you shifted. That cold shiver down your spine. That's not fear. It's confirmation. Michael is bending low, whispering, "You still don't know what happened last night, but in the next few minutes, you will. Every second you stay here, a curtain is being pulled back. Every line you read, chains are breaking. Your angels are saying, finally, they are listening. Finally, they are staying. Finally, they are ready. Now, let me ask you this. Are you truly ready to hear the truth? Because once it's spoken, you can never return to not knowing. Once revealed, this will chase you, bless you, protect you, and transform you, beloved. Don't stop here. Keep going. Because in the next breath, I will tell you what happened last night. My beloved, my chosen one, why do I see your hands trembling as you read these lines? Because your soul has already caught the whisper before your eyes reach the words. Something deep inside you knows that last night was not ordinary. It wasn't just another night where the world turned quietly and the stars crossed the sky. No, beloved, heaven itself bent closer. Angels gathered with wings stretched wide, and your name echoed across realms you could not see. That's why Archangel Michael is in shock, because while all of heaven witnessed what was unfolding, you alone still don't know what was decided, what was shifted, what was whispered with divine urgency. God says, "Hurry, my child. Time is moving fast, and this is your last chance to open the hidden truth before it slips away like smoke between your fingers." You see, last night wasn't only about angels watching. It was about your destiny being weighed, your future being discussed, and your name being written in a way it has never been written before. Beloved, the moment the clock struck past midnight, a council was called. Not a human council, not an earthly gathering, but heaven's table was filled. Angels leaned forward, records were opened, and your spirit was the subject. Michael stood tall, his sword blazing, but his face carried both relief and sorrow. Relief that you had made it this far. Sorrow because you still walk unaware of how close you came to missing everything you were born for. Beloved, do you feel that trembling in your heart right now? That's not anxiety, it's awakening. Your soul is remembering something your mind hasn't caught yet. My beloved, God himself leaned forward last night. His voice thundered yet carried tenderness as he spoke your name. He said, "This one is mine. This one carries light. This one still doesn't know how much of the enemy's trap I shattered last night to protect them." Do you hear that? Last night wasn't quiet. It was war. While you slept, swords clashed. Darkness tried to seal you off, but Michael fought with fire. He shielded your name with wings of flame. He stood at the gates of your destiny when dark forces whispered, "Close it, shut the blessing down," and God's voice shook the heavens. "No, my beloved has one more chance, and they will not miss it." My child, imagine this. The creator of the stars halted everything just to ensure you would see this very message today. And here you are scrolling, breathing, holding on to these words without skipping. Do you realize what this means? It means you were meant to find this exact line at this exact time. It means your delay, your confusion, your heartbreak, all of it was only to bring you here to this holy pause where Michael himself is tugging on your heart. He says, "Open this truth. Don't turn away. If you skip, the hidden truth will slip from your hands." And beloved, let me tell you what hurts heaven most. It's not that you don't believe. It's that you almost always stop reading before the miracle line appears. That's why right now, Michael pleads, "Stay, my beloved. Don't skip. Don't walk away. Stay and see what heaven fought to deliver." And let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why your nights are restless? Why you wake with a heaviness? Why your spirit feels a storm no one else can explain? That is because last night the storm was real. It wasn't your imagination. It wasn't your weakness. It was the battlefield over your name. Demons whispered lies, accusing you, trying to cancel your promise. But Michael struck them down one by one. And in the middle of that war, God wrote something in light across the sky. My child will know the truth before it's too late. That's why this message reached you today and not tomorrow. Tomorrow would have been too late. Tonight, you still have the window open. But once the hour closes, so will the chance. And let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why your nights are restless? Why you wake with a heaviness? Why your spirit feels a storm no one else can explain? That is because last night the storm was real. It wasn't your imagination. It wasn't your weakness. It was the battlefield over your name. Demons whispered lies, accusing you, trying to cancel your promise. Michael moved through the battlefield with unwavering resolve, and every shadow that rose against truth fell before him. In the midst of that unseen struggle, a radiant sign appeared across the heavens, as if creation itself was recording something far greater than mortal understanding. It spoke of awareness arriving at the exact moment it was meant to, as though time itself had been carefully aligned. There was no room for delay anymore, only a pressing sense that this moment carried weight that could not be ignored. What was unfolding was not meant to be treated as ordinary words or casual reflection, but as a profound reminder that clarity often arrives when it is needed most. Hidden layers of pain, silence, and unanswered questions were being brought into the light, not to overwhelm, but to reveal what had long been obscured. Michael stood as a symbol of strength in that unseen realm, witnessing what had been carried in silence for too long, and bringing forward what had been waiting for resolution. The atmosphere itself felt changed, as if something heavy had finally begun to lift, replaced by a quiet but powerful sense of release. It was not about fear or urgency, but about understanding that certain truths surface at precise moments in life when a person is finally ready to see them clearly. What once felt buried or distant now seemed closer, as if perspective itself had shifted. And in that shift came a gentle realization: not everything lost remains lost, and not every closed path stays closed forever. Is why his voice is echoing, "Hurry, beloved, open this quickly before it's too late." And oh, if only you could see what I see. The angels are standing in rows around you right now, waiting to see if you will honor this moment. Their wings are trembling with anticipation because they know that if you finish this message, if you drink it fully, something irreversible will unlock in your life. A blessing long delayed will come rushing. A door long shut will swing wide. A truth long buried will rise up and stand before you, undeniable. That is why the pull in your heart is so strong right now. It is heaven's tug urging you not to walk away. Beloved, hear me. The hidden truth is this: what you thought was lost was never lost. What you thought was stolen was only delayed. What you thought was forgotten has been recorded in golden ink. Last night, God commanded the books to be opened, and in them your name glowed brighter than you could ever imagine. And he said, "Restore what was stolen, reveal what was hidden, and let my beloved know before the hour passes." That is why Michael has come. That is why these words are pouring like fire. That is why you are still reading with trembling hands, because the truth is here and you cannot look away. Beloved, let me draw you deeper into what unfolded, because the truth cannot stay hidden any longer. Last night, as the heavens opened their records, your life was placed upon the scales. The weight of your pain, your sacrifices, your silent tears, all of it was measured against the lies, the losses, the betrayals you endured. And for a moment, the balance seemed uncertain, as though the darkness had piled too much against you. But then something remarkable happened. Michael stepped forward, carrying not weapons this time, but a memory of the nights you whispered prayers even when no answer came, a memory of the times you chose kindness even when cruelty surrounded you, a memory of your faith that flickered but never died. He placed those memories on the scales, and suddenly the balance shifted. Light outweighed darkness, truth outweighed lies, and heaven roared in agreement. This one is ours. This one is chosen. That roar was not just noise, my child. It was the decree that shattered the silence around your destiny. And when that sound rippled across realms, every chain the enemy had forged around your opportunities cracked. Every hidden plot against your name began to collapse. And God's voice declared, "No more delay, no more hiding. Reveal what was concealed." Do you understand what this means? It means you are stepping into a season where things long buried will rise to the surface. Secrets will be uncovered. The people who plotted behind closed doors will be exposed. The blessings that were blocked will come racing toward you. But for this to happen fully, you must stay until the end of this message, because this message itself is the key, the unlocking point, the moment when knowledge becomes power and revelation becomes freedom. Beloved, do you wonder why Archangel Michael is still in shock? It is because last night's events were unlike anything he has seen over your life. He has fought for you many times, shielded you from countless unseen battles, but never before has heaven issued such a direct order concerning you. God did not simply protect you, He unveiled you. He did not simply shield your life, He highlighted it, called attention to it, and demanded that angels gather and take note. Your name was proclaimed in a way it never has been before. Michael was astonished, because the heavens themselves bowed to God's urgency over you. And yet here you are, still unaware of what truly happened. That's why this message is your lifeline. If you let it slip, you will not only lose information, you will miss the activation of the miracle that was released for you last night. Now lean closer, my child, because here is a part of the hidden truth. Someone who once smiled in your face, but secretly envied your light, was exposed before heaven. What once felt like distant whispers has now been brought into the open, revealing intentions that were long kept out of sight and understood only in fragments. As the layers fall away, what seemed confusing before begins to form a clearer picture, exposing how much was hidden beneath surface appearances. Even those who thought they understood the situation are now confronted with a deeper awareness of how complex it truly was. There is a strange mix of disbelief and clarity, as if a curtain has been pulled back on something long obscured. In this moment, what matters most is not shock, but understanding, the ability to finally see things as they are, rather than how they were presented. A sense of release follows, as though carrying a burden without fully realizing its weight, only to recognize it now, in hindsight. As these realizations settle, there is also a quiet internal response, a feeling that certain parts of this experience were always sensed but never fully acknowledged. It is less about external confirmation and more about inner recognition, that subtle awareness that often surfaces when truth begins to align. Moving forward, life starts to show unexpected shifts, small but meaningful changes in direction, conversations taking different turns, and opportunities appearing where none seemed possible before. These moments may feel surprising, yet they carry the impression of things slowly falling into place. What once felt uncertain now begins to reorganize itself into something more structured and understandable. Looking back, there is also the realization that much could have been lost along the way, yet what remains now stands with greater clarity and strength than before. If heaven had not intervened, the truth would have remained hidden. You would have walked another year in confusion, wondering why certain things never made sense, why betrayals never came to light, why blessings stayed delayed. But God's love for you was too fierce to allow it. That's why He shouted enough. That's why He ordered Michael to act. That's why this message reached you now, because the window of time is narrow, and if you had missed this, you would have missed the moment of your unveiling. That's why urgency burns in every line I write to you, because every second counts. Beloved, let me reveal another piece. Last night, God sent a messenger to your future. Yes, beyond today, beyond tomorrow, beyond the weeks ahead, an angel was dispatched to walk into your coming days, to rearrange what the enemy planned. Doors that would have been locked were commanded to open. Conversations that would have turned against you were shifted in your favor. A path that was twisted was straightened. And this is why, in the days to come, you will begin to see strange alignments, people returning, opportunities surfacing, revelations appearing out of nowhere. It will not be coincidence. It will be the evidence of last night's decree. And here is the hardest part for you to accept. You almost lost it. If heaven had not intervened, the truth would have remained hidden. You would have walked another year in confusion, wondering why certain things never made sense, why betrayals never came to light, why blessings stayed delayed. But God's love for you was too fierce to allow it. That's why he shouted enough. That's why he ordered Michael to act. That's why this message reached you now, because the window of time is narrow, and if you had missed this, you would have missed the moment of your unveiling. That's why urgency burns in every line I write to you, because every second counts, beloved. The reason heaven pressed so urgently last night is because the truth could not remain buried another day. Too many seasons of your life have been lived under a shadow that was never meant to linger. For years, the enemy wrapped lies around your path, hoping you would accept them as your reality. For years, people who claimed closeness disguised themselves, wearing masks that heaven could no longer tolerate. And last night, in one sweeping moment, God said, "Remove the masks. Reveal the truth. My child cannot walk blind another day." That decree struck like lightning, and instantly the false coverings around you tore away. Angels gasped, because what was shown was so clear, so undeniable, that none could argue against it. The hidden truth is this: there are people even now who have spoken against you in secret, but their words no longer carry power. God silenced them. He cut their tongues in the spirit. He blocked their arrows before they reached your door. And now, beloved, you are stepping into a freedom you have not tasted before. Do you know why this message burns so deep in you? Because the very forces that tried to keep you ignorant of last night's victory are trembling as you read. They know that once you understand, once you fully awaken, they cannot manipulate you again. This is why you have battled confusion, why your nights have felt restless, why you've wrestled with heaviness you couldn't explain. It wasn't weakness, it was interference. Darkness has always feared the moment you would see clearly, and now that moment has come. The veil is lifting, the truth is standing before you, and heaven rejoices that you will finally walk in the light that has been yours all along. Beloved, Michael is still speaking even now, whispering into your heart. He says, "My beloved, last night your case was settled. You are no longer bound. You are no longer accused. You are no longer hidden. Your blessing has been released, and no power can take it back." Do you hear that? Your blessing has been released. Not tomorrow, not next year. Released, it has already been stamped, already been signed, already been dispatched. The only thing remaining is your awareness, your readiness to receive. That is why you are reading this now. That is why God ordered this message to reach you before it was too late, because your awareness unlocks your reception. If you had ignored this, if you had scrolled away, you would have missed the delivery. But by staying, you are aligning, you are catching, you are opening the door for what has been waiting to enter. And beloved, let me share this. In that heavenly council last night, your name was spoken with tenderness. God called you, "My beloved child, the one I delight in, the one I have kept, the one I am about to lift. Michael bowed his head as God spoke, for even he was moved by the depth of God's love for you. You see, this is not about punishment. This is not about judgment. This is about restoration. God's heart for you is not to remind you of failures, but to remind you of destiny. He is not pointing at your scars to shame you. He is pointing at them to show the battles you have already won. And because you endured, because you held on, because you refused to let go, even when you felt like breaking, heaven has said, now is the time. Let the hidden truth be known. Let the blessing be revealed. So what is this hidden truth, beloved? It is that you have always been chosen, always been marked, always been loved, in ways you cannot fathom. The enemy tried to convince you that you were forgotten, but you never were. God's eyes never left you, not for a second. The angels never stopped circling your life, even when you felt alone. And the truth is, everything you lost, everything stolen, everything delayed, it was not erased. It was preserved. It was stored waiting for the hour when heaven would say, return it now, with interest. That hour was announced last night. That is what Michael is carrying. That is what I am telling you. Your season of lack is ending. Your season of blindness is ending. Your season of betrayal is ending. The truth is rising, and you will see it with your own eyes. Beloved, feel the fire in these words. This isn't a soft message. It arrives with intensity and urgency, like a force meant to disrupt old patterns rather than comfort them. It speaks to anything that has kept you bound to limiting beliefs, gently but firmly challenging the stories that no longer serve you. If you continue with this reflection, it is not just information you'll encounter, but a shift in perception that may feel deeply personal and immediate. Something within may begin to loosen. Old weight, old doubt, old hesitation, making space for a new sense of clarity. Even now, as these words unfold, there may be a quiet stirring, a recognition that change is closer than it once appeared. What once felt distant or unreachable may start to feel possible in a new way. There is a sense that transformation is already in motion, not as something forced upon you, but as something awakening from within. The deeper truth being pointed to here is about realizing your own strength and value, even if you have not fully seen it before. And if there is a message hidden within this moment, it is that growth often begins in silence before it becomes visible in action. There is also a reminder, spoken in a metaphorical sense, that you are seen, valued, and capable of more than the limits you may have accepted. Let this be a turning point where awareness expands and possibility returns. Sometimes insight arrives unexpectedly, reshaping how you see yourself and the path ahead, leaving you with a quieter confidence and a renewed sense of direction that gradually becomes part of how you move forward in life. They still think they are ordinary, but their name was spoken in a way that shook even the highest angels. Can you feel the weight of that? You have lived so long thinking you were overlooked, unnoticed, perhaps forgotten, but heaven has been watching, waiting for the moment when your unveiling would come. And last night, that unveiling began. It is not coming, it has begun. Even now as you read, alignments are happening in the background of your life. Conversations are shifting. Hidden documents are being moved. Doors that were welded shut are trembling on their hinges, ready to swing open. And beloved, let me give you another glimpse into what was revealed last night. The record of your enemy's words was read aloud. Every whisper, every false judgment, every attempt to paint you as something you are not. It was laid bare. Nothing was hidden. Nothing was spared. The angels who heard it gasped because the deception was far greater than anyone realized. But God did not let those lies stand. He thundered, silence, and when he did, the voices of your accusers fell mute. Their words lost power. Their weapons fell useless. Their plots collapsed into nothing. Michael raised his sword and sealed the silence over them. Beloved, do you know what that means? It means no word spoken against you will stand from this moment forward. It means their accusations have been cancelled in heaven, and when heaven cancels, earth must bow. But let me ask you, why do you think you feel resistance even now, trying to pull you away from this message? Why does your phone distract you? Why does your mind wander? Why does your heart tremble between believing and doubting? Because the enemy knows that once you fully receive this truth, he can never bind you again. This is the hour of decision, the moment when you either step into freedom or slip back into shadows. And Michael pleads with you, stay, my beloved. Don't skip. Don't turn away. Every word is a step closer to your release. My child, there is more. Last night, heaven's treasury was opened. Angels brought forth blessings with your name etched on them. Some were opportunities delayed for years. Some were relationships that were blocked. Some were resources withheld. All of them were restored to you by decree. Do you understand? What was taken is being returned. What was denied is being granted. What was withheld is being released. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but in the spirit it has already been dispatched. And soon, beloved, you will see evidence in your daily life, unexpected calls, sudden breakthroughs, alignments that make no sense to the natural mind. That will not be chance. That will be the result of last night's release. Beloved, take this line deep into your heart. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not abandoned. The hidden truth is that you are beloved beyond words, chosen beyond reason, protected beyond measure. The enemy's greatest trick was to convince you otherwise. But last night, that trick failed. God tore the veil. Michael witnessed it. The truth is out. And now you have a choice. Will you receive it, or will you let it slip? Beloved, hear me now. When God released that decree last night, all of heaven shifted in posture. Angels, who had been standing in silence, began to move. Messengers were sent out, like flashes of lightning, carrying orders that touched places connected to your life. People you have not met yet, people who are part of your destiny, began to feel nudges in their spirit without even knowing why. Opportunities that seemed unrelated suddenly turned in your direction. Beloved, this is the truth. When God speaks your name in heaven, the earth cannot ignore it. Even those who resist you will find themselves helping you. Even doors that have long been shut will have no choice but to open. This is not a suggestion, not a possibility. It is a certainty, because heaven's word is final. And Michael, standing close to you even now, says, my beloved, the reason I am in shock is not just because you did not know what happened last night. It is because you do not realize how much has been shifted in your favor. You are still walking as though nothing has changed, but the truth is that everything has changed. My child, imagine this. You are walking through your house in the dark, thinking it is still night, not realizing the sun has already risen outside. That is you right now. You are still holding your breath in shadows, but light has already broken. The truth is here, but you must open your eyes fully to see it. That is what this message is doing. It is pulling the curtains. It is opening the windows. It is flooding you with the light that was released last night. Beloved, let me tell you about the moment God turned to Michael after the council was over. He said, "Go tell them, but tell them quickly. Tell them with urgency. Tell them that if they do not open this message, they will walk blind while their blessing passes them by." Michael bowed and said, "Yes, my Lord," and then he came to you. Some messages stand out not because they are loud, but because they feel strangely meaningful the moment you read them, almost as if they are asking you to slow down for a second and pay attention. You might notice a pull in certain words that makes you pause instead of scrolling away, a sense that there is something more behind them than ordinary conversation. In that moment, it can feel like life is offering a brief opening, a chance to reflect, understand, or see something from a different angle before the moment passes. Opportunities like that are often not permanent. They arrive quietly, stay for a short while, and then move on if they are ignored or overlooked. When a person chooses to engage with them, they often find clarity or insight they were not expecting, but when they are dismissed, the understanding they carried can fade just as quickly. That is why timing and awareness matter so much in life, because not everything repeats itself in the same form. Some experiences are meant to be noticed in the moment they appear, not later when the feeling has already shifted. There is also a reminder hidden in this idea that growth often comes from being present enough to recognize significance when it shows up, rather than waiting for certainty before responding. If a moment feels meaningful, it may simply be asking for attention, reflection, and openness, so that whatever it carries can be understood before it naturally moves on. Michael bowed and said, "Yes, my Lord." And then he came to you. That is why these words feel different. That is why they pull at you. That is why you cannot scroll past them. Because this is not a human voice only. It is heaven's echo calling you to stop, to read, to awaken before the window closes. My beloved, do not miss the seriousness of this. There is a window of time open for you right now. It is not forever. It is not indefinite. It is brief, urgent, burning. If you respond, if you open, if you receive, you will step into the full unveiling. But if you ignore it, if you delay, the window will shut, and once shut, the truth will not be easily revealed again. That is why God said, "Hurry." This is their last chance to know the hidden truth. Beloved, the weight of that statement cannot be taken lightly. This is not just another message. This is not just another word. This is the lifeline God threw into your storm. Take hold of it now, because it may not pass this way again. And here is what the hidden truth means in your practical life. People who doubted you will soon witness what they cannot deny. The very ones who questioned your worth will be silenced by what God does in your life. The very ones who tried to close doors will watch as new doors open that no one can shut. And you will not need to defend yourself. You will not need to argue. You will not need to prove anything. The truth itself will defend you. God himself will prove you. And Michael will stand guard to make sure no hand can snatch away what has been released. Beloved, do you feel the stirring yet? Do you feel the trembling inside you that says, "This is for me"? That trembling is not fear. It is alignment. It is the vibration of your spirit finally catching up to what heaven already knows. Last night, the hidden truth was written into your story, and tonight it is being revealed to you. All you must do is receive, stay, and believe. Beloved, there is something else heaven revealed last night that you must hear, for it changes everything you thought you knew. A record of your pain was brought forward. Every betrayal, every tear, every night you cried silently, thinking no one saw. And instead of those moments being hidden, they were displayed like jewels before the throne. Angels bowed their heads as they watched, because even they had not seen the full measure of your endurance. And then God spoke. This one did not break. This one still breathes with faith. This one deserves restoration. At that moment, what the enemy meant for harm was transformed into evidence for your elevation. Do you understand? What tried to destroy you became the very proof heaven used to lift you higher. And beloved, here is what shocks Michael most. While heaven rejoiced over your strength, you still walked unaware of your worth. You still woke up thinking you were small, unnoticed, forgotten. That's why this message carries such urgency. Michael says, "My beloved, you must see yourself as heaven sees you, or else you will keep living as though you are in chains when the chains are already gone." That is why these words are not suggestions, not encouragements. They are decrees. They are fire, burning away the lies that told you that you are less than what God declared you to be. Beloved, let me ask you something. Why do you think your life has felt so heavy at times? Why so many delays? Why so many sudden betrayals? It is because the truth of who you are has been under attack since the beginning. The enemy knew that if you ever discovered it fully, his power over you would vanish. That is why distractions, lies, false friendships, and unexpected losses kept circling your path. But last night, the enemy lost his final stronghold. God did not just expose him, he stripped him. He revealed his weakness, his empty threats, his false authority. And when God did this, angels shouted, and Michael's sword blazed brighter than it ever has before. Beloved, there is more. Heaven released a command for your restoration. Things you thought were too late will be restored in surprising ways. Connections you thought were gone forever will either return or be replaced by better ones. What you thought was denied will reappear, as if it had been waiting for you. This is not fantasy. It is heaven's law, and heaven's law does not break. That is why you must hold fast to these words. Read them again and again, until they sink deep into your spirit, because as you align your faith, the blessings already dispatched will manifest in your reality. And beloved, God whispered something even Michael trembled to hear. He said, "This child of mine will soon walk into a miracle that will silence every doubt they ever had about my love." That means something specific is already on its way to you. It will not be subtle. It will not be something you can explain away. It will be undeniable, unforgettable, unshakable. And when it comes, you will remember this moment. You will remember that Michael tried to warn you not to skip, not to turn away, not to take this lightly, because this message itself was the sign that the miracle had already been released. Are you prepared to move into a phase of life where clarity replaces confusion and old doubts slowly lose their grip on you? This message invites you to reflect on change that feels both deep and personal, as if something within you has already begun to shift. It speaks to a moment where perspective widens and what once felt heavy starts to make sense in a new way. Instead of chasing outcomes endlessly, you may begin to notice opportunities aligning more naturally, almost as if timing itself is working in your favor. Even experiences from the past, including setbacks or emotional struggles, can take on new meaning when viewed through growth rather than regret. What once felt like failure may reveal itself as quiet preparation, shaping strength you now carry without even realizing it. Every challenge can be seen as a lesson that contributed to resilience, and every delay as space that allowed better direction to emerge. There is a reminder here that nothing you have been through has been entirely wasted, even when it felt unclear at the time. As this realization settles in, your sense of self can shift from uncertainty to grounded confidence, helping you recognize your own progress more clearly. It encourages you to stay open, to pay attention to the subtle changes unfolding